Hello my royal lovelies, welcome back to the channel, and of course, as always, welcome to my home. Hope you had a really lovely Christmas. Happy New Year to everyone. It's all the start of New Year, New Me, isn't it? Right, let's just get straight into this video because I have many things that I want to talk about today, topics that have been brewing, shall we say, within the royal fold. Okay, let's start with rumours are swirling. They're swirling that Sarah and Andrew, of course we're talking Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, and of course Sarah Ferguson, potentially could remarry. Now, I'm not entirely sure where these whispers, where these rumours have come from, where they've originated, but they are swirling. So it's something worth talking about. I have spoken about this topic on my channel previously. And I think that there is no coincidence, no small coincidence, that these rumours are coming out at a time when revelations are coming out about all those papers that have been unsealed in the US regarding, of course, Virginia Giuffre's testament or her testimony. They were sealed back in 2015. 958 pages have been unsealed that include names of very famous, very wealthy, very influential men who have had associations with Jeffrey Epstein. So let's park that for a moment. We will talk about that. But I don't think it's any coincidence that rumours could be swirling about a possible remarriage for Sarah and Andrew around this time. It was said, before Christmas that these papers were going to be revealed in the new year, or unsealed in the new year, I should say. So I haven't obviously read all of the papers. I don't think anyone's read 958 of them. The names, I think, are going to be drip-fed to the media as and when. But lots of famous names have already come to light. But the name that I'm most interested in, and I know you're interested in, is, of course, the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. And of course, he still has his HRH. He just doesn't use it. Kind of in the same way that Prince Harry still has his HRH, but does not, cannot use it. It's not quite in abeyance, but it's there, but not in formal use for work purposes. Of course, but they can use it on papers, on official documents. Same goes for Prince Andrew. So, first of all, we need to kind of go back in time and take a look at why Sarah and Andrew are not married in the first place. Now, a little bit of sort of history. It was about 2 or 3 months. I think Sarah and Andrew got divorced in the May. And they got divorced a couple of months, possibly 3, before Diana and Charles got divorced in 1996. So they were kind of the royal, if you like, divorce trailblazers in that period. I know Princess Anne, has been divorced as well, Princess Margrethe, but in that period, that was kind of, they got divorced first. And I think, obviously, it stemmed from the toe-sucking scandal. I think it was too much for the royals to handle, especially the Queen and the late Queen and the late Duke of Edinburgh. So they were kind of pushed and forced to divorce. But their relationship remained very, very close, co-parenting their daughters, which is one thing that Andrew and Sarah did most definitely get right in their life. They co-parented their children and brought up 2 very well-adjusted, dutiful girls, now young women with their own families. So I think, they did good by their children. Or they've made mistakes in their lives, both of them, including Sarah, who, I might add, she's the sort of person that when she does make a mistake, she really does, when she apologises, you know that she means it. It's a genuine apology, and she tries very hard not to repeat her mistakes. But I think it's almost like a separate, rather than a marriage of convenience, it's almost the opposite. I think Sarah and Andrew have almost got a divorce of convenience. It's convenient to be divorced from each other. And of course, they've remained living together, co-parenting together. Being divorced means that Sarah, although not the Duchess or the Duchess of York, foregoing her HRH, which she lost at the time of her divorce. She's still Sarah, Duchess of York, but not the Duchess of York, which are two very, very, very different things. But it enables her to earn her own living, do interviews, write books, sell merchandise, and not being a member of the royal family allows her to do that. So to remarry would kind of open up this question of how is Sarah and Andrew now going to make money? Because I suppose it has a few benefits being married, but also some negatives. Like I say, being divorced, not having the HRH, not being the Duchess of York by royal marriage means that she can earn her own money. She can do her own ventures, and no one is really going to question it that hard. Andrew so far has not, since he stepped back, embarked on any projects. I think that indicates that he is still holding out some kind of hope, although I think it's a little bit hapless at the moment. This kind of hope, I think, that he may rejoin the royal fold in some capacity. He also does not have any formal jobs that we are aware of, for example, looking after the royal estates or anything of that nature. I mean, he could be, I think he wanted to be park ranger of the Windsor Great Parks or some of the other royal estates to give him a sense of purpose. And I think it is important when you kind of are forced to step back for whatever reason that you have some kind of purpose in life, because I don't think he was ever planning on retiring, if you like, when he did. It came to him because of his own doing, I might add. But the situation is he was, a working royal. He's now not a working royal, and that must be difficult to suddenly go from doing a lot to not having terribly too much to do. So a remarriage would obviously, I think, go a little bit away to kind of show that from a PR perspective that he might be having a changing attitude, perhaps a little bit of a rebirth, if you like. Whether or not the public would buy or swallow that is a complete other issue. I mean, like with Sarah, you have to be authentic with an apology. You have to be authentic. And certainly with the interview he gave, that disastrous TV interview, he didn't come across as genuine. He didn't come across as sincere. Nobody believed him. And, the consequences have been felt for him ever since then. So if they were to remarry, I think it'd have to be more than just a remarriage. It would have to be, you'd have to get a real sense publicly that he was a changed man. And I don't know how he could do that. He's so low in the public's opinion of him because of his associations. And we're not going to get into this video about whether or not you think he did it or didn't do it. I know everyone's going to have their own opinions. But the one thing that nobody can deny is that he got himself into a pickle. It's all his own doing, his choice to associate with the people that he associated with, his choice to mix in the circles that he mixed in. It was not the best choices, and he is and has paid the price for doing that, potentially having paid $12-13 million, losing effectively the HRH, losing his royal role. He's paid a price, and never actually having been convicted of anything as well, I might add. And I should say at the start of all of this as well, that Andrew still stringently denies any of the accusations that have been brought to him throughout this whole episode. So would remarriage go any way to rehabilitate his public persona? Like I say, that would largely depend upon his choices going forward, what he chose to do, and how genuine he appeared. I think the British public can take back, people that are rock bottom, as long as they're genuine, as long as they are sincere. And I don't know whether or not Andrew has the capacity to be fully sincere, to be fully, I don't know what the word is. He just needs to be repentant, and that people really believe him, which I can't see that happening. You can with Sarah. You've seen it time and time again. She's made a mistake. She's apologised. She's owned it, and she's moved on. And you really do get a sense that she's genuine about all of that. But I don't get that same sense from Andrew, or we certainly haven't over the years that all of this has been going on. So will they remarry? I mean, the benefits of remarriage are, of course, that potentially, they could have some kind of income, which would mean that they wouldn't have to, or rather Sarah would not have to go out and do work in the public eye. They could also, the king could agree that certain elements of work are allowed with a remarriage. For example, co-writing books, publishing children's books, that kind of thing, kind of low-level work, if you like. That could be sanctioned. There could be certain elements of work that is sanctioned. Or, like I said, they could have just have an allowance from the king. But if they got remarried, I don't see them coming back as their Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of York, into the royal working fold. I cannot see them embarking on full programmes of engagements. Sarah has always been suited to royal life, very vivacious. I mean, we saw her at the Sandringham Christmas, of course, a family occasion, looking very effervescent, delighted to be there. I mean, you could feel it. It was radiating from her, as it normally does from Sarah. So she's suited in that capacity, in the capacity that people like her. But she is also a little bit of a loose cannon, a little bit unpredictable. You never know quite what sticky situation she's going to get herself into. And, of course, with the disgrace that Andrew has brought to the family, I don't know whether or not... But I think it's just too much of a risky combination for the king to even entertain. So a remarriage would likely bring a period of stability, a period of calm, but I don't think it goes in any way, shape or form into rehabilitating him into the public fold, unless he's just really, really genuine and open and honest about the whole situation. Please let me know your thoughts and comments about all of this. What I'm going to do now is read some of what has come out of those unsealed documents, and I'm going to read it so that I don't get anything wrong or mixed up, because that is quite important with these things. So, today it emerged that one of Epstein's alleged sex slaves, known only as Jane Doe 3, claimed that she was told to have intercourse with Prince Andrew during an orgy on Epstein's island, Little St. James, in the US Virgin Islands. And I think I'm sure we've heard about this before. A 2014 court ruling alleges that she was forced to have relations with this prince when she was a minor in 3 separate geographical locations. She claims this, I think it's pertaining to Virginia Giuffre, because this is what we know already. She claims it happened in London at Ghislaine Maxwell's apartment, in New York, and on Epstein's private island in the US Virgin Islands, in an orgy with numerous other underage girls. The newly unsealed documents claim Epstein told Jane Doe 3 to give the prince whatever he demanded. Jane Doe 3 claims that Ghislaine facilitated Prince Andrew's acts of abuse by acting as a madame for him. The unsealed documents include the transcript of Virginia Giuffre being questioned over the whereabouts of the photographs showing her with the Duke of York. Asked during her disposition in 2016 where the picture was, you remember that famous picture, she said, "I probably still have it. It's not in my possession right now." I mean, you've got to have it, really. So, probably bit wishy-washy language. Miss Giuffre added it may have been in storage boxes when she moved to Sydney. She also said documents related to the case may have also been in the storage boxes, which are full of Nerf guns and toys. During the deposition, Miss Giuffre said she had given the picture to the FBI in 2011, but had last seen it before she packed up and left Colorado. Another accuser, Joanna, shed new light on an April 2001 trip to New York, in which she said Prince Andrew touched her receptacles while they posed for a photo at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse. And this is the situation with the puppet. I think we've heard that before. At one point, she testified Maxwell called her to an upstairs closet where they pulled out a puppet of Andrew that had been made for a television programme, probably the spitting image puppet. It looked like him, she said, and she brought it down and presented it to him, and that was a great joke because apparently it was a production from a BBC show. And they decided to take a picture with it in which Virginia and Andrew sat on a couch. They put the puppet on Virginia's lap, and I sat on Andrew's lap, and they put the puppet's hands on Virginia's breast, and Andrew put his hand on my breast, and they took a photo. I think it's important to remember that Joanna at this time was 20 herself. So yeah, it just kind of goes on, and then obviously says lots of other famous names that I think mostly that we already were expecting to come out. Will this change anything? I'm of the opinion that if there is evidence to support any of this, if there has been wrongdoing that can be supported by evidence, bring it. I think most people now are of the opinion that it's gone on for too long. There's been lots of kind of legal do-si-doing, like kind of legal dancing around things. And I think most people, myself included, are of the very, very firm opinion that if there has been wrongdoing, then perpetrators of wrongdoing should not get away with wrongdoing, and they should be, dealt with via the proper correct channels. But at the moment, we haven't, all these years, we haven't really seen anything. Ghislaine is the only person that has been, trialed and convicted of any actual wrongdoing. So bring it. My opinion is, if you've got evidence, if you can back up any claims, bring it, and then let the legal courses of action take effect, and then it's done with. I think most people now are like, just get it done. If you've got if you've got evidence, back it up, bring it, and then it'll all be dealt with, and all will come out in the wash, and especially when all the evidence, if there is any, has actually been looked at and taken into account. So please let me know in the comment section below what you think about this. What is your opinion of the unsealed documents, all of the revelations? Let me know. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about in today's video is, of course, pertaining to Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, who famously has decided to abdicate. So she hasn't abdicated yet. That is coming later this month, not long to go. I think it's the 14th of January. So there, in my last video, it still had not been confirmed what she would be addressed as following the abdication. And there were lots of kind of different options, lots of different opinions on the subject. What has been announced now is that she will continue to be known as Her Majesty Queen Margrethe. So it looks like she's not being sovereign, but she hasn't renounced being queen. So this abdication is not the same sort of abdication that we had, for example, with Edward VIII back during the abdication crisis here in Britain. Of course, there are very different reasons for this. Obviously, Edward VIII was kind of pushed, was kind of forced, and it was because of his unwillingness to give up a marriage that he wanted for love. in the case of Queen Margrethe, she's been on the throne for 52 dutiful years, and the reason is effectively retirement, old age. So very, very different reasons. But in my mind, an abdication is full renouncement of all sovereignty, which includes those titles. So we have seen one other European monarch, Queen Beatrix, who after abdication reverted to princess, the kind of the titles and styles that she held before becoming monarch. That would be my preference in all of this. However, I do accept that, she has been a dutiful queen for over 50 years, and the circumstances are different. In the UK, I think abdication is still very much a dirty word. I do not think King Charles will be following suit. We'll talk about that in a moment. But anyway, the Danish people have decided, or rather the Danish government and Queen Margrethe have decided that Her Majesty, Queen Margrethe, effectively a retired monarch, is the way in which they want to go. So that is, of course, completely up to them. Let them get on with it. That is fine. So we'll see lots more details coming out in the coming weeks once the abdication has happened and, of course, the new accession has taken place. In the UK, there is still no provision under the Regency Act to deal with old age. So I still think the Regency Act is the way to go in the UK with regards to stepping back of a sovereign if a sovereign wants to step back. Of course, that has never happened, which is why there is no provision under the Regency Act. I do think that as a matter of precaution, they should update the Regency Act to include a clause for effective retirement due to old age. Now, there is a Regency Council. The Regency Council, in my opinion, would have to agree to the sovereign's request for a regency to be evoked owing to the matters of old age. So, for example, if King Charles, when he got to 80 or 85, wished to step back, but he still had his mental capacity, he still had physical capacity, and obviously he's not absent from the country, then, potentially he could say, right, I would like to retire, I would like Prince William, the Prince of Wales, to become Prince Regent, and, can you agree to that? If the council agreed, then potentially that could happen. But that there is no provision for that yet. This is what I would like to see happen. Currently, the only provision for a regency, as I've quickly mentioned, is if you are absent, i.e. you are on a 6-month foreign tour, or you've gone off to war, which is very unlikely to be the case. If you are mentally incapacitated, dementia, or any kind of mental illness that would mean that you couldn't take on and fulfill your duty, or that you are so ill and incapacitated, you may still have your mind, but you physically cannot carry out your duties as sovereign. So those are the only current provisions, the reasons for invoking a regency. So old age is not one of them. I would like to see an old age provision brought into the Regency Act, which would then mean that Prince William could become Prince Regent and effectively rule the country, do all the duties that the sovereign would normally do. Of course, a regent cannot change or update the line of succession. That is written into the Regency Act. So, will we see changes to the Act? Maybe, potentially. I would like to see them, and I'd like to see them done in time so that if King Charles wanted to effectively step back, and I think one of the only other reasons he would want to step back is potentially so that he could spend some more time with Camilla. So anyway, we'll see what goes on there. I know some of you are probably wondering, what is the wife of a Prince Regent known as? Well, normally the Prince Regent would be the Prince of Wales, so therefore there has not been in previous years a need to change the title of the spouse of the Prince Regent. So Catherine would likely remain, under current provisions, the Princess of Wales. So we'd have the Prince Regent and the Princess of Wales. However, I would quite like to see again an update of this. I would like to see them both as Prince and Princess Regent, with Princess Regent being the courtesy style of the Prince Regent, or perhaps Princess Consort, which has never actually been a title that has been used in British history before. Again, let me know your thoughts and comments on this. But I don't think we are going to see an abdication in the UK. If anything, potentially a regency. And I do think that if the Regency Act in the UK is updated to include old age, there is no need for abdication to become commonplace in the UK. There are issues with, I suppose, not abdicating in that the line of succession currently as it stands is going to be that of an ageing one. You know, I estimate that the Prince of Wales will become king roughly in his early 60s, which then puts Prince George at ascending to the throne in his early 60s too. Not terribly old. I mean, you know, we're not talking dinosaur age here, but we're not talking a young sovereign such as Queen Elizabeth or Queen Victoria or even Queen Elizabeth I when they came to the throne. So people are asking questions about how the monarchy will be perceived. I'm trying to find the right words with regards to an ageing monarchy. I don't think it matters as long as there is an amount of youthfulness in the royal family below the sovereign. So, for example, take now, you know, we have a sovereign in his 70s, but we also have a young prince and princess, relatively young prince and princess of Wales and their young family. So we do have, you know, some of that glitz and glam that I think the royal family need. And also that element of relevance as well. Okay, I'm going to leave this video here. We've spoken about it a lot. There's been lots of kind of controversial things as well. So I hope that we do get more information as and when it comes out. And of course, I will update you on that. Now, a little bit of housekeeping before we go. So I'm going on holiday in a week and I'll be away for 2 weeks. And I had the best intentions over Christmas and New Year to stockpile a load of videos that I'd scheduled to go out while I'm away. It hasn't happened, my loves. Christmas came, New Year came, getting ready for holiday came, and I didn't have the time. And I still don't have the time to make them. So what I plan to do is to either live stream from holiday or maybe film little individual stories while I'm away and then put them all out as sort of one video while I'm away. So yes, I'm going to carry on working while I'm away, while I'm on holiday. So there shouldn't be any kind of real humongous gaps in videos. Also, thank you so much, because I know that some of you have migrated from this channel to my other channel, Elliot and Matt. So if you didn't know, I also have a lifestyle, property and travel channel called Elliot and Matt. So if you want to go and take a look at that, just type in, my tiara's slipping. If you want to go and take a look at that, then please just type in Elliot and Matt in YouTube search bar and it should come up. I'm going to document the holiday as well. So if you want to find out what we're getting up to on holiday, vlogs will be coming out. And you can also follow us, Elliot and Matt, on Instagram as well. I will be updating holiday photos, holiday reels, stories, all that kind of thing over there. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, then please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah to you all, and goodbye.